Good morning. It's 1:15 on 11th May 2020. Welcome to GPR19. As I started in the last rant, I typically try and limit myself to a specific topic. The topic today is going to be relativity of knowledge. But before we get there, mandatory Ghalib. We'll have another couplet from the same ghazal that we have been reading. This one is Iman mujhe roke hai. Iman or Iman mujhe roke hai. Iman means faith or belief. Jo kheche hai mujhe kufr. Kufr typically means absence of faith or absence of belief. But then, as we know, there is no such thing as absence of belief. You always have some other beliefs, because beliefs are a system one thinking. We survive on them, we live on them. So I would say that kufr is alternate belief. So Iman mujhe roke hai, jo kheche hai mujhe kufr. So my faith tries to hold me back, but my belief tries to hold me back, but an alternate belief pulls me towards it, attracts me towards it. So my ancestral or whatever old belief tries to hold me back. My original belief tries to hold me, but an alternate, new, someone else's belief pulls me, attracts me. Kaaba mere piche hai, Kalisa mere aage. Kaaba is behind me and the church is in front of me. It basically talks about the pull of an alternate understanding of life. That you've been told that this X is the only understanding of life, and you sort of believe it. But then you find that alternate beliefs are probably as true, and they pull you towards them. And let me try and get to our talk today, our rant today, and it's about beliefs and alternate beliefs. So the topic is relativity of knowledge. So first of all, let me take you to that picture we have seen very, very often. It's 4, 5 or 6 blind men telling each other what an elephant is. They are shown with an elephant and they're trying to figure out what that elephant is. So I just put you on a hold for a second to get you this pic. So what you have here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blind men who are experiencing the elephant, who are talking to each other about what that elephant is. And let me read out what they say. So the guy who's on top, he's holding the big ear of the elephant, and he says it's a fan, as in the ancient fans, the manual fans, they used to be like that. And the guy who's holding the tail, who's experienced the tail, he says it's a rope. The guy who's got hold of the central part of the elephant, this one, he says it's a wall. The one who's got one of the legs says it's a tree. The one who's got the trunk says it's a snake. The one who's got hold of the it's ivory, the tusk, he's saying it's a spear. So this is that old pick that this old story that we often talk about when we are trying to understand what knowledge is. So the story is simple. An elephant comes into a village. The people there have never seen an elephant. There are 6 blind men there, or different versions, 4 blind men, 5, whatever. These 6 blind men, they go to see the elephant. They can't see it, so they can't experience the whole thing at a go. Each of them gets to touch one part of the elephant. Each of them experiences one part of the elephant, and he or she thinks that is, because they are men, so he thinks that that is what an elephant is like. They come back and tell each other that the elephant is like this, the other one says no, like that. So one says a fan, one says a snake, one says a rope, so on and so forth. Which one of them is right? Is any one of them right? So this is the parable with which we begin trying to understand this topic, which I am saying is relativity of knowledge. So we are all, I've just noted down the points, and I will mostly be reading those points so that I'm able to finish in time. See, we are all blind. So if coronavirus has not convinced you of that, then perhaps you've not been paying attention to it. We are like those blind men. Someone says something about it, someone says something else, and we are completely in the dark. Different people have different understanding of the virus. Different people have different understanding of how to address the threat. Different people are using different strategies, methodologies, drugs, vaccine approaches, so on and so forth. So if coronavirus has not convinced you of that, then perhaps you've not been paying attention to that whole thing. We are all blind, and we all live by our own stories and myths. You want to understand more about what I mean by stories? Please go ahead and read something from or hear Yuval Noah Harari. I talk about him often, so you already know him. So we are all blind, and we all live by our own stories and myths. Thus, all knowledge is mythical. So let's define myth first. What is the definition of a myth? It's subjectively true for those whose subjective truth it is, whatever that myth is. Subjectively untrue for those whose subjective truth it is not. Objectively, it is untrue. And absolutely, in terms of absolute truth, it almost certainly is untrue. We cannot be 100% sure, but almost certainly it seems to be untrue. So let's take a few examples of myths. See, myths are not just Santa Claus and Bigfoot, that everyone can laugh and say that, oh, children believe in that, and so forth. And they're not just Zeus and Jupiter. People can laugh. Those people in the old times, they used to think that these are gods. Ha ha ha. No. Actually, even in today's world, we live by myths. Quite some time ago, I saw with someone a cassette which was marked Santoshi Mata Ka Itihas. And I was really shocked, because Itihas is history. History means something which is supported by and proven by evidence. That's what we think it is. On the other hand, it's a proven fact that Santoshi Mata is an invention. Santoshi Mata did not exist until the movie Santoshi Mata was thought of. And the writers, director, whoever, they invented Santoshi Mata. So Santoshi Mata is an invention. There can't be an itihas. So that cassette was not really talking about how the film was made. That was talking about how there is a goddess by the name Santoshi Mata, because by then some temples had come up and some bhakts had come up, about some devotees of Santoshi Mata had come up, and they said that ye hai Santoshi Mata ka itihas. So that clearly is a myth for those who don't believe it, clearly is not a myth for those who believe her. Clearly, objectively, Santoshi Mata is a myth, because it's a story, it's a part of fiction, right? So objectively, Santoshi Mata is a myth and is untrue, and absolutely, again, we don't know, but it almost seems like it can't be true. So we have dealt with one particular goddess of one modern extant religion. Let's look at one more religion. Let's take Islam, for example. So Islam is based on, as we often talk about it, Muhammadur Rasulullah. How does one believe in Islam? Because Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought that message to some people 1400 or so years back, and they believed him. So essentially everything stems from Muhammadur Rasulullah. Even La ilaha illallah stems from Muhammadur Rasulullah, because Muhammad said so. Islam today says that there is no God with a small g, but God with a capital G. So that, for those who believe in Islam, those who believe in this, for them it's true. Those who do not believe in that, for them it's untrue. Right? So this is what myths are. All religions are myths. They are true for the people who believe in those. All versions of all religions are myths. So again, take for example Islam, and Shias believe in something and Sunnis believe in something else. For Shias, what they believe in is absolute truth. For Sunnis, what they believe in is absolute truth. And within Sunnis, there are Deobandis and Barelvis, and that division, that finer division goes on. In every household, you will find that one member of the household believes in a certain specific detail about Islam, and somebody else, to outsiders, that is a very small detail, but for them that becomes an important difference, an important aspect of why one of them is right and the other one is wrong. So this is true of all religions, all sects of all religions, all cults, all everything. For the believers, all that is true. For that specific believer, his specific individual subjective truth is true. For others, it is not so. And this is in some or the other way accepted by these very religions. So for example, Quran on Surah Al-Kafirun, and that is Quran 109, 6th verse, 109:6, says, Lakum dinukum waliya deen. You have your religion and I have my religion. So this is true even of non-religious belief systems. Say for example, all economic belief systems. Economics is not really a science. I mean, I've studied economics. Economists like to fool you into believing that it's a science. It's not. It's just a belief system like everything else. Same way, nationalism. Nationalism is also really that much of a myth, because I'm an Indian, and for me India is the real land that I should have all my loyalties towards India is my country. So all my love is there for India. Similarly, there is a Chinese person. For that Chinese person, all his love is for China. Suppose, as I saw today itself, there was some kind of exchange of fire between India and China. If, suppose, God forbid, there is a war between India and China, what am I going to say? India, we must win. This is my country. China is all wrong. Right? For a Chinese, India will be all wrong. So, and in fact, let me see if I can pull that out. I don't remember that, but let me see if I can pull it out. There is a Bhagavad-Gita Shlok 1847 that I have here. Shreyan swadharmo viguna, Shreyan swadharmo viguna, par dharmat swanushthitat. So what does this mean? This means that it is better to do one's own dharma, even though imperfectly, than to do another's dharma, even though perfectly. So for me, as in India, even if my government in my country is wrong, I have to support it. I must support it. The same thing is true for a Chinese person. He might think or believe that his government is wrong, or he might try as much as he can, maybe he can contribute better for India, but his dharma is supporting his country, my dharma is supporting my country. So that is what even Gita tells us to do. There is an acceptance that different people have different myths that they believe in, and from that myth stems one's dharma, as it were. You find tribalism even today, even in modern societies, you find tribalism, you find racism, casteism. Now, all these things are really true for the person who believes in that myth. So, if a person who believes in Chuachut, for example, if in the morning that Brahmin, before as he's going towards the temple, if a Dalit carrying some dirty thing touches him, even without that dirty thing, he will get defiled. For those who believe in that, I'm not saying everyone believes in that, but they're there. Political belief systems, all of them are those. And then there are those that we sort of idolize, like for example Rajput's code of honor. For example, the code of chivalry which knights used to have. For Pakhtuns, it's Pashtunwali. For samurai, it was Bushido, Cosa Nostra. The same way, even science and logic and evidence and mathematics, even those constitute a belief system. Even those are myths. Why? Because these are based on the assumed truthfulness of sense data and mental computation. We say that I will believe what my sense data tells me if it is logical and if scientifically it can be proven. Yeah, sure. But this is based upon the assumption that sense data is truthful, that mental computation takes us towards truth, that we live in reality. Because it is just possible that I might be a brain in a vat, you might be a brain in a vat, we might be in a matrix, and we might be in a simulation. Who knows? We have discussed this often. So this is also a belief. This is also a myth. Similarly, belief in the existence of an absolute truth or an absolute reality, that is also a belief. That is also a myth. It just might be that we are in some kind of nested relative realities, that there is no absolute reality. It's just nest upon nest upon nest upon nest. We are a simulation on another simulation, which is on another simulation, which is running on another which is running on another computer. It is possible. How can I say that it is not? Maybe something else that my mind cannot understand, or maybe there is nothing. Who knows? So all knowledge is mythical. Our knowledge is based on useful stories, that is, based on convenient assumptions which carry no guarantee of being true. It is not based on any absolute truth or any reality, because no absoluteness can be available to evolution-born, mind-mediated, mind-created, image-built reality that we need in order to survive. Now, what do I mean by this? For a change, this time, I'm going to do it this very episode. I'm going to run it in two parts. I'll not take a couplet, and I will just continue this discussion in the next part.